You're welcome back. You're welcome back. This is still Agenda on TV3. We are looking at food safety and fire prevention. And with me in the studio to do the discussion from far left, we have Mr. Prince Billy Anaglate. He's the head of public relations, Ghana National Fire Service. In the middle, we have Madam Maria Abba Lovelace Johnson. She's Chief Regulatory Officer and then Head of Food Enforcement from the Food and Drugs Authority. On my immediate left, we have Dr. Bashiru Boy Kikimoto, and he's the Head of Public Health and Food Safety Units of the Veterinary Services. Welcome, gentlemen and lady, to Agenda.
Thank you very much.
We'll start with you, Lovelace. Food safety is one of your big topics, especially around this time as we celebrate and make merry. How have you made sure that around this time we get the right things?
Well, thank you very much. The Food and Drugs Authority put in a lot of measures to ensure that people will be protected around this time. One of the things we did is we got our food post-market surveillance unit drawing up a program somewhere around September. And in the Greater Accra region, we have 22 districts or sub-metros and municipal areas. You know, we have 22 of them. That's 10 of them even coming under Accra Metropolitan Assembly. And we have the Ga East and the Adenta and all that. So we did one district, one day. So for the 22, every day we visit the place. So, and what we do is we have our 33-seater buses that convey our staff in and out of the office. And that's when they're coming to work and after work. So during the daytime, the buses are just there doing nothing. So what the chief executive did was to get us to use the buses during the daytime.
You've done some market surveillance and some visits to some abattoirs.
Everywhere.
What are you seeing?
Everywhere. With the abattoirs, Dr. Boy Kikimoto is here. Yes. So that will be his.
But generally, what's the situation in the markets?
We are improving. We are improving.
Are there any cause for alarm?
That's a very difficult thing. Not really. We are doing a lot of public education.
We'll come back and
with the abattoirs, because he's here, he will do more of that. But let's even focus on the pre-packaged foods. On the pre-packaged foods, we've done a lot of that because we knew a lot of people were going to maybe change or tamper with the best before dates, and also a lot of people were then going to have products that are expiring in February. And so they were going to get a lot of them onto the market without them thinking of, well, how is it going to be consumed before, let's say, February? They just want to get them out of their warehouses. So we had to do a lot to see to it that we are really going to track the products to where they will get to as much as possible.
But when you say not really, that does not sound very encouraging from a consumer's perspective. Well,
because he's here.
Doc is here. Doc, what's the situation of our abattoirs? Yeah. This is where a lot of slaughtering is done all over the country.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. What has happened so far is that because we know it's getting to this festivity time, there's going to be increase in the number of animals being slaughtered. And even in the normal period, we know that the slaughtering is a big problem because most of the butchers actually don't cooperate very well to allow veterinary to carry out proper meat inspection procedures. And because of that, we always carry a sanitation performance standard in all the slaughter facilities to know what is going on. So during this period, what I decided to do was to carry out an audit, impromptu visit without even announcing, just to see how they are faring. I've been to some few slaughter facilities even this morning. And even I found one illegal. I would say illegal because normally where there's no veterinary meat inspector, we normally consider it as illegal.
Then we have a lot of illegal facilities.
That is why now we have made a quality assurance meat inspection stamp for all the slaughter facilities in Ghana. So from January onwards, whenever you go to the market, you don't see the veterinary stamp on any meat. You don't buy. It means that meat is not inspected. It's from an illegal place. You don't have to buy it. So I've been to some few areas, and I can say that I was impressed with the kind of water they are using, because that's one of the major things that bring about contamination And then also I was impressed about the way they were transporting the carcass from the Sinjin to the inspection site. So I found out these areas, and where there were lapses, I advised them that I'll be coming after New Year again. So I think that currently things seem to be improving, but much is needed. And that is why maybe for next year, with the help of FAO, we still train these butchers on some of the best practices that they have to carry on.
Well, when we assess the recognized areas where slaughtering is supposed to be done, we can come up with that assessment and say things are improving. But there are many more out there that are not recognized, that we don't know about. And we have a story that we want to put across. So for your reaction, residents of Jakrom, a suburb of Nsawam, they are urging authorities, including your good officers, to check the activities of the abattoir in their area, because they say the pollution that comes out from the tie that is used to burn the carcass that they send to the market may cause pollution, and they are worried about their health. Let's take that story, and then we'll come back and ask Doc to react to that.
This slaughterhouse, located at Jakrom, a suburb of Nsawam, is said to have been here for almost 40 years. Sanitary conditions here at this slaughterhouse is not the best, as animals are slaughtered under unhygienic conditions. Carcasses are dissected and washed on the bare floors, with flies having a field day. The workers here appear least concerned about the health hazards of their environment as they happily go about their duties. I'm standing by a carcass of a cow slaughtered under insanitary condition. Right over this carcass you have the municipal assembly stamp on it, and it's been approved by the municipal assembly, but the conditions here is very bad. Insanitary conditions, flies, and very, very bad condition. And this has to be, something has to be done about this situation. The butchers say in a given day between 8 and 10 cows are slaughtered. A cow is slaughtered at 5 cedis and a goat at 4 cedis, with all proceeds going to the municipal assembly. Besides the unhygienic conditions, the use of car ties in grilling the animals is a worry for residents, as they complain the smoke was affecting their health.
Even we, those who are staying at the back of this burial, when you go to our rooms are very black. We should not be happening like that, as we are in this dispensation.
TV3 checks indicate a new slaughterhouse built at Nsawam Wangra has become a white elephant. It has been deserted with no activity going on. The assemblyman for the area says moving the workers to the new location has been difficult.
The sanitary conditions at the abattoir is something like an albatross on our neck. We need to put in place electricity, and that electricity is costing us about 85,000 Ghana cedis. We don't have that money.
You're welcome back. You just saw the story. Doc, what's your reaction?
My reaction is that actually there are 333 slaughter facilities in Ghana.
Is this one of them?
This is one of them, because a vet is supposed to be there. I never knew him, but one of our meetings, he introduced himself from that place. And he told me that they slaughter only twice a week. Because I interrogated him, I've not been to your place, how's your place? Are the butchers paying and those kind of things? So he told me, oh, our place, we only slaughter twice. I think he said Thursday and another day. But I see that here they say it's daily. So
and they do many in a day. And it has a stamp as well.
No, the stamp is actually not correct, because assembly is not supposed to stamp meat. No. By the Public Health Act 851, Section 7, Clause 108, Subclause 4 and 7, it's supposed to be done by veterinary services in accordance with Codex Alimentarius, which is in charge of food safety, which is the WHO FAO subcommittee in charge of food safety under United Nations. So what is happening there is wrong. It needs to be corrected once and for all. The second thing I've seen, which is also appalling, is that they are not supposed to slaughter on the floor.
They are washing on the floor, yes, and the gentleman washing was also barefooted.
Yes, and you see, all these are things that, but we called that guy for training. That's why I asked him. Actually, I have not been there, but I asked him because I never knew him before.
For a consumer, all the
yes,
all the back room
yes.
and office issues is not something
it's
we
not
should
what
be
you are
concerned
interested in.
about.
You
We should be interested in
the food,
safe meat,
the safety aspect,
because this is going into the market.
In fact, actually, from here, I'll try to see how best we can put measures in place, because you know there are very many, as I said, and we are not able to go to all of them, because sometimes when there's small amounts, and you have to look at the number of animals which are slaughtered in a place, and you have to visit the fair, because that's where the hygiene and sanitation is likely to be a major big problem. But eight, you shouldn't have problems with hygiene. They're just 8 animals. But what of Accra Abattoir or Jifanku or those places where they
well, this is not a consumer's problem. This
yes,
is something you're supposed to be fixing from where you are sitting, because you have direct responsibility to make sure that this is fixed. Well, let's go to Prince Billy and Neglati. They are using fire, using car ties to burn animals. People are getting the smoke in their rooms and their walls are becoming black. How dangerous is this to health of?
Yeah, it is dangerous. Even with the ambers that might be flying from what they are doing to people's home, can easily cause fire. It has resulted to even bushfires because of where they do it, how they do it. And at times they call us that there is fire. You get only to realize that somebody was burning or trying to burn animal with ties, and that has resulted. Because they are using tie. Tie, you know, when you are burning tie, you burn very fast with a thick smoke. And at times they are not able to control the spread of the fire. And you know the environment where they do it, the bush and all other things around. So it is actually something that I think they should be able to look at properly. We, at times, when we are aware that people are using the bush, even burning or trying to burn animals in the bush and all that, we try to insist that, you know, even if they would do it, then they need to follow the safety procedures by ensuring that they have bucket of waters around even before they do all that. But I think it is a misuse of heat sources that have severally generated to.
And the use of car ties, I assume car ties is not, of course, recommended for burning slaughtered animals. What is the implication to our health? You are from the Food and Drugs Authority. You have our own responsibility to ensure that this should not be done. But we continue to do this.
We do a lot of public education, and we collaborate a lot with the veterinary services departments. That's why when I said when it gets to meat, because Doc is here, he's going to do a lot of that. We know we have a food safety policy, and we have the Public Health Act, and we all have our roles to play. When it comes to meat, poultry and all that, veterinary services department has a big role to play. Yes, the Food and Drugs Authority is responsible for all food, but then that bit has to be played. So
what's the level of collaboration?
Oh, we do a lot of collaboration. We collaborate a lot. We do collaborate.
But this is not something that is a secret. We know this. It happens.
Yes.
So why haven't we fixed it?
We've been doing a lot of public education, as I've been saying, and then some enforcement as well. But a lot of it will depend on veterinary services department. You know, it's about this is someone's job, this is this other person's job, but we all are working together to achieve a common goal. So you cannot always cross your line and go to the other person's line. Of course, our main goal is to ensure public health and safety, and we are doing that. And we do a lot of collaboration. We need to, yes, we'll have to up our game, especially with Doc's outfits, and then we'll ensure that the meat that is out there is safe for human consumption.
Doc, we know you do a lot of public safety. We know you are passionate about the safety of meat, but this continues to happen. How should we approach meat purchase and slaughtering of our carcasses, especially around this festive season? Yeah,
I think that what Maria has said is the right thing. What we are doing now is that we are collaborating at 3 agencies: Local Assembly, Food and Drugs Authority, and Veterinary Services, in the slaughterhouse as a whole, where the slaughtered animal, the antemortem post-mortem is done by veterinary, make sure that the meat is of high quality, then they stamp. Then the Food and Drugs Authority will assist in all that is involved in making sure that meat that is coming out of the slaughterhouse is safe for human consumption. So they will also make sure that the packaging, the transportation and everything, the cold chain is also well done. Then the environmental health, quite apart from the sanitation in the slaughterhouse, are to make sure that they go to the market with the Food and Drugs Authority to make sure that the meat which is actually coming out from the slaughter, which is safe, is still safe at the market. So these are the rules, as Maria was saying.
There are issues within the transportation chain, the chain from the abattoir to the market.
Yes. That was true.
And we need to even be able, as a nation, provide cold vans
for them.
Either we are providing or whatever means. So
we use taxis and trucks.
Yes, it is sometimes.
And we drive them in the open.
Yes, and you know, you need to put certain infrastructure in place before you can do proper enforcement. A provision of cold vans from the abattoirs to the markets, we haven't provided. So how well can you do the enforcement? You can get up to educating them and telling them these are the consequences of your actions. So you tell them about the microorganism and its behavior, and the fact that if it stays for this long, this is what the consequences will be. So as much as possible, limit the time as far as certain temperatures are concerned.
They just put it on the table, and we love to see them fresh because they are not refrigerated.
That is where the problem too with the consumer.
That's the problem.
Because when you go to their places too, you find deep freezers there.
Yeah.
With the at the marketplaces where they sell the meats, there are deep freezers in there. But they say when they even put it in there, people would tell you that this is ice meat, ice fish, ice whatever, and they want it fresh. And fresh means it has to be kept at ambient temperature. This is also another angle that the consumer is rather the problem.
The problem.
Because if we get the consumer to understand
so the demand is to have it at ambient temperature, and the recommendation is to have it cold.
We want it cold. The cold chain shouldn't even be broken. So as soon as they go through all that happens in the abattoir, right from the abattoir, it gets into a cold van. And then the cold van takes it to the market, and then it gets into the deep freezers, and then it's sold to the consumer, who will be carrying an ice chest to the market. The consumer has to carry an ice chest with ice packs, and then you buy your meat, you take it to your freezer, so that there should be no time that the meat should be kept warm. Unfortunately, we have issues at certain points, and then the consumer is even worsening the problem. Because even if within, of course, we have our limitations as far as the nation is concerned in getting cold vans and all that. So if we can't get them cold vans, we limit the time, right from the abattoir to the market. Let's say less than 2 hours, it should be there. As soon as it's there, they have their deep freezers, they have them. So that's fine, they put them there. And then the consumer
this requires a lot of public education for the consumer to understand why they should buy their meat cold.
Exactly, and we do that quite well. You will also have to give us a platform to do more of that.
You have this platform.
Thank you very much. So the consumer will have to get it cold. So if it's cold, don't think it's imported and it's not fresh, or it's some 10-year-old meat. Because we had issues even with sandwiches. There were people selling sandwiches along the road, and then we realized they were warm, they were not kept cold. We spoke to the people who had started the business, we educated them, did a lot of training, they understood, and they started doing them and selling them cold in ice chests and all that. In about just a matter of 4 weeks or so, the woman came back to the office and said,
the consumers don't want it.
So that the business is folding up. I mean, she's going back to
we'll come back to the,
because they said the sandwich was cold, and they do not see why they should eat cold sandwiches.
And giving the impression that it's left over from another day. We'll come to Doug. Let's take a brief comment from you. And we know some of the abattoirs use gas. Is gas recommended for burning carcasses?
Actually, that is the normal thing they have to do. Currently, with the help of our LI from the Public Health Act, we and Food and Drugs Authority, we have put in some measures to make sure that people don't use ties. Most of the places where they are using the ties are the remote areas, but most of the proper...
Jakrom and Nsawam...
As far as it's remote.
But Nsawam is not too far
because most of the proper ones have been there, most of them.
And they are using gas. Okay, please hold that for me, and let's go to our fire officer. The use of gas and the burning of carcasses around this time is extensive. Is your public education going to the abattoirs, and how are they receiving this education?
Well, actually, with the public education, within this year, we have intensified it, and that has gone to all segments of the society, including even the abattoirs. Any area that we know, they are using gas, because of late, gas fires are forming the majority of the fires that we have. Not only do they even destroy the thing, but they are the very fires that even kill people, they figure people and all that. If you get to the abattoir where they even use the gas, we appreciate that they use the gas, but it is also used wrongly. You see the cylinder close to the gun where they are using the fire and all that. They finish quickly. It is placed just very close to it. The heat source used to it, and the maintenance cost of the facility, the gas facility that they use, is also in a deplorable state. That can easily, if you look at the hose, it's very old, and yet that is a very.
How often should we change those hoses? What should we see before we change them?
Yes, that is, you need to have frequent checks on them. Frequent checks that you need to ensure that if it is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending with what they do frequently using it, then at least about 3 or a month, they should be having the checks on it. That you should use the soapy water to ensure that you run it along the hoses at the time that the hose is charged with a gas. Then you run the soapy water.
So that's the test to do.
Yeah, the
check
test.
Your pipes.
So if there is a leakage, it will begin to show signs of foaming. Then you need to change it. That is why we also advise in our education. We tell them that even if it is the tip of the gun, where you connect to the regulator or to the gun that you are using, that is where the leakage is. You don't cut it and rejoin. You need to change the whole hose that you are using, because that will show the indication that the hose is already weak. So yes, it is good they use it, but I think they need to improve on the safety facilities that they put in place before using it. They do all that. You get to the places, you don't even see a single extinguisher there at the time that they are doing that. But if you look at the situation when there should be fire on those gas cylinders that they are using, the explosion is going to definitely occur, and then that will be so dangerous for they using it and anybody around the area. So
around this time also, the market stock a lot of food, and that's where the market is loaded with things. And thank God I haven't heard about any market fire around this time. We are keeping our fingers crossed and praying that it doesn't happen. What are you doing differently in the markets, and how vigilant are you to make sure that we don't get any bad news?
Very vigilant. That is why you will not hear it, because our firemen are in the market 24/7. Not only are they educating the people, but they are patrolling and monitoring the activities of the people. What it takes that we have market fires is because people are using other sources of fires, either on a commercial base or even on individual use. They cook anywhere, any small corner anybody sees himself or herself, you want to use that place to, instead of having a designated area where everybody should cook. So our men are in the market, they monitor those things, and even if it is a gas you are using, you are told you need to use the gas cylinders properly. And at the close of the day, they also go around and ensure that everybody is able to turn off all those electrical gadgets and even their gas cylinders before they leave. Just 2 weeks ago, in the Makola market, somebody failed in a restaurant to turn off the gas. And it was leaking, and the scent was all over in the market. That was after 6 p.m. And our people were calling. They have to break into the restaurant before they are able to rectify what it takes. The leakage from there can set fire, pick fire from a distance, and that will definitely...
Is it. The whole Makola market.
Of course.
Another major accident.
That is it. So what we are ensuring is that before they leave the market, all other fire sources, including electrical sources and all other things, to be turned off. Sincerely, it is not only in the market that we are doing that. Our education is also to all offices. This is the period we'll be having office fires, because people break when they are going on holidays. They leave all those electrical gadgets on and they leave. It keeps working. That is why the fire occurs. So we have pushing people even before the hammer.
Sometimes if you have a refrigerator, you just have to keep it on.
No, yes.
The TVs and the radios, you can turn them off, but the refrigerator, you just have to keep
the refrigerator
it on. So how do we manage that?
Yes, it is made to be on 24/7, but it is how you handle it. You get to people's where they have their refrigerator. It is close to the wall. and there is no air that is circulating behind to cool the temperature down there.
How much space should we leave behind our refrigerator? Sometimes you hear these things, but they are a little vague. You don't know what to do. How much space?
It is not about the distance. It is about ensuring that it is off the wall. People push
so
it
once it's about 2-3 inches off the wall, you are fine.
Air will circulate around it. You go behind people's refrigerator, you see rubbers, papers, as if it is a dustbin, and they have gathered all. Those are combustible materials. The refrigerator is emitting hot gases, and those, when you get into ignition temperatures of those, that starts the fire. So we only need to know how we use our electrical gadget. Many of the fires, it is the use of those electrical appliances wrongly that many attempts cause those fires. So what we are just saying is that when the electrical gadget is not supposed to be on 24/7, turn it off. This our SMAS lighting system. It's nice, it's there, but it causes fires, especially within this period. It is not supposed to be used 24/7, but that is what people do.
How many hours are we supposed to use it?
4 to 5 hours.
And then we turn it off.
You turn it off.
And then we come back and put it on again.
Yes, but people lock them in room while
and then keep them on.
Yes.
Well, let's come to Madam and ask about packaging in the markets. There's a lot of stocking. People stock things towards Christmas, and because there's bumper sales, bumper buying and all that. And then we have issues with expiry.
Packaging as in?
No, we biting tomatoes, biscuits and all that. So what do we do as consumers when we get to the markets to buy?
Oh, thank you. Around this time, as you just said, a lot of promotions are going on. People are selling things like buy one, get one free, buy 3 for the price of 2.
30% reduction in the big shops.
Yes, and 58, a lot. One thing you should be asking yourself is, why are they selling the products that way? Why are they reducing the prices? Why the reduction?
Not because it's Christmas.
Because they are Father Christmas? No. Because this is the time when they know that they can sell a lot of their products. Most products, if you really do a survey, you realize that a lot of them, you have expiry or best before February 28th, some January 31st, March 28th, So a lot of them have less than 3 months to have their best before dates due, and they wouldn't want to just have their products there till that time. So this is a time when everybody is buying something, so they need to cash in. That's why they've reduced it. So one thing that consumers should look out for is, when is the best before date? So if you know when the best before date is, then when you're buying the products, you calculate your consumption rate and all that. So let's say you have some sardines in vegetable oil being sold at half the price, and you have a family of 6. Why would you go and buy about 10 cartons?
Because it's cheaper.
Because it's cheaper. I mean, the 10 cartons, or you could have bought, let's say, on a normal day, it would have been like 4 cartons or 5 cartons. So now you're buying 10. You wouldn't use it. So when the date comes, what happens? You'll be compelled to either eat it because you don't want to waste your money.
Give us some education on
you sell it.
Where they usually...
You throw it away.
They usually write the best before date and how they write it, because sometimes you see numbers, but you're not sure how it is written.
The best before dates are normally written as DDMMYY.
DDMMYY.
That's the day, the month and the year. And then they are normally on the bottles. Or like this,
on the bottles, they are
on the cans,
neck,
they are down there.
The
then you see some other numbers there. That is the batch number.
Okay.
You see, and that's very important too, because there could be instances where they'll say this product with batch number 1157 should be recalled from the market, and then you know that, well, I bought 1157, 1158, so they're also very important. But then there are certain things you should even look out for, and that will give you a clue as to whether the product is registered by the Food and Drugs Authority or not. Because the Food and Drugs Authority, we do not ask people, or as in the importers, to put the numbers on the products, because the products are going to so many other countries. Ghana happens to be just one of them, so you cannot compel them to put the numbers there.
Where do they put it?
So they have their numbers, but they are not on the products. So you cannot go out and say, let me look for the numbers to see if it is registered.
Sure.
But there are certain things you can look out for. The name of the products.
Okay.
It has to be there. And when we say name of the product, it's not like TV3. I mean TV3 canned tomatoes, TV3 canned sardines, a vegetable oil, the name of the product. Then we have the list of ingredients. Apart from single ingredient products, all products should have the list of ingredients.
Example of single ingredient products?
Water. Rice.
Okay.
That's single ingredient. But any other product that is not a single ingredient should have the list of ingredients. And then we go on to our own best before dates.
That's the BBE.
BBD, that's very
DD.
important. It should be there. And then we get to the net contents. If it's water or it's liquid, we have it as net volume. If it's solid, we have it as the net weight. It should be there.
So the liquids are usually in mils, right?
In mils or liters and all that. So they are the volume, and then we have the batch number. What I said was so important. It should also be there. And then the country of origin. That's also very important because if there is an issue,
what if this is written in a language you don't understand?
Thank you. So I'll be coming to that. So you get to the country of origin, and then the last, but not the least, the name and address of either the manufacturer, the importer, the distributor, the packer, and all that.
This is very important for a consumer to check. But I'm imagining picking a product, looking at the best before date.
There are just 8 things that you should be looking at.
8 things, but sometimes it
the
takes
name,
a
they all
of
come. You see, and most of these come on the principal display panel. You pick it and they are there.
We have the FDA, so shouldn't the FDA
we are doing that. I mean, but you have the police with you all the time. But we also, when we go and sleep in our houses, we lock our houses. But we have the patrol team next door. You have a bit of responsibility as well. So you look out for all these, and then when you don't find any, it means the Food and Drugs Authority.
Just
because it could also be in another language. We mentioned the language, so I just want to say, if it's in another language, then it's not registered by the Food and Drugs Authority. The lingua franca of Ghana
is English.
And
nothing
else.
So
all these things I've said must be in English. So it will be ready.
English or another language plus English.
English has to be there. If it has 10 other languages,
there must be
fine.
English.
English must be there.
We will go for a break. I want you to explain to us what is best before, because sometimes we mistakenly calculate it. We calculate it differently depending on who is holding the product. So we'll go for a break. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion. We are looking at food safety and fire prevention around this festive season. We'll be back shortly. Yeah, welcome back. This is still Agenda on TV3. We are discussing food safety and fire prevention, and my guests are still here. Dog, around this time we buy a lot of animals. Unfortunately, we have them littered all over the streets. Every street corner you pass, you see many, many goats, and people are buying. What should we look out for when we are buying goats, fowl?
Yeah, for example, if they are goats and, like ruminants, whether large or small ruminants, you have to look for, the stature of the animal, and then also look for, nasal discharges or, and then ocular discharges, and then whether it's having some wet, tail side, that kind of thing. Then you can see that maybe something is wrong.
So when you look at the eyes, you look at discharge. What
yes.
else do you look at in the face of the animal?
Yeah, these are
the eyes, the nose.
These are the major things that you don't see discharges. And then second, to make sure that it's alert. If the animal is not alert and it's just standing dull, melancholy, you should also suspect that something is wrong. Then also, like fowls, for example, they also have the same thing. Sort of, they're not alert. They just stretch their wings and they're drooping wings and they're standing there. You should also know that maybe something is wrong. And then these are the major things you look for in a live animal.
With the fowl, sometimes they'll tell you, this is because the fowl is very big. And so they eventually collapse themselves on the bed of the cage.
Yeah, for example, like broilers. you know, there are some broilers which are above 2.5 kilos. Broiler, they cannot stand on their feet for long. That one sometimes can happen.
So when you see a broiler like that, what else should you look out for?
Look for the vent. Look at the vent.
Make sure there's no discharge.
Yeah, no, it's not wet. That you look for and then also look at the comb. If the comb, the color is not all that reddish and it's turned bluish or something, you should suspect that there's something wrong. Then also look at the shanks, the legs. Make sure that they are not reddish in nature. If they are reddish, then you should also suspect that something is wrong. So just look for these basic things before you can buy the animal, the bird.
That's very important.
Yeah.
We do a lot of cooking, and we've grown to love the use of gas. How should we manage it around this time? We are cooking, we are rushing to church, we are enjoying, there's family coming in and all that.
Yeah, it's true. When it comes to this period, women actually need to be talked to. They do a lot of things at the same time. They are washing, they are cooking, they are doing all other things. Then the tendency or you forget one sensitive area that causes fire has always been there. It is this period that you even see people trying to have additional gas cylinders. They fill them and then they want to store them in. So that
before you continue on that, there's something that that troubles me. You go to the gas filling stations and sometimes you have a bottle and you see the weight of the bottle and it's supposed to contain this amount of gas, and they will tell you, oh, you can top up more. There's more space, you can top up. And you see people topping up over and above the limit that is indicated on the board. How dangerous is this?
That's very dangerous. That is what I keep saying, that even people, they go in, they tip the 1 cedi to the people to fill it to the brim. Gas has an expansion rate of 250, the volume that is already under pressure in the cylinder. So when you fill it to the brim, let's say you are pulling it and it drops on the floor, it can explode because the gas in it will try to expand, but there is no cushion pause. There is no place that it can expand to, so that the tendency that the cylinder itself will explode is very high. So if you go and you fill gas above the maximum and you are carrying it home, you are only carrying, you know, a time bomb into your home. The time you are trying to drop it down to put it, if you hit the ground, you know, that it is that level, it can easily explode. So people should be careful, you know, trying to say that they should fill it to the brim. The other thing that I also say is the way we transport our gas. You know, in a taxi, it lies on the side. Gas cylinders are always supposed to be standing upright.
If you put it in a taxi and doesn't lie, it will fall.
So
as you drive, it will fall.
You don't look for a vehicle that the cylinder would not be firmly secure standing in.
Then we better put it inside the vehicle, because in the boots it can only lie.
Exactly. I think,
and that is very common.
Yes, 2 weeks ago, I was at the gas filling station doing an inspection at the gas filling. I saw the woman. She was seated in the car, and the attendants went and picked the cylinder, fill it, and went and just put it lying on there. Then I walked to her. I said, Madam, it is dangerous. If the cylinder cannot stand upright in your boots, then you put it inside. She said, oh, thank you. Quickly, they have to move it. The moment you place it lying on the side, there is pressure on the valve. So if there is pressure on the valve, it will blow it off. If there is the slightest, you know, rise in temperature, that the gas in it is supposed to expand, so you can blow it off. So people go within this period, they fill 2-3 cylinders, and they go and put it under their bed. If we put it under automatically it will be at the side of it. That is very wrong of something that we'll be doing. So if you want to buy, you know, excess gas, then you need to ensure that you have a place where you can install it, but not your living room, not under your bed. This is a period that we also want to say that people should again take stock of what they do in their kitchen. People normally will be cooking, and you see women, they are using their mobile phones in the kitchen and all that.
Oh, these days men are also cooking now.
But men who are cooking. They are not into cooking and using mobile phone like women do. It's very dangerous. So people should not send mobile phones to the kitchen. I keep saying that. Don't send your mobile phone to the kitchen within this period. We should also try to ensure that the leakages, where we put those blocks and other things on the regulators, what is it? It's only the rubber seal that is weak. So why won't you change it? So we need to ensure that we change those rubber seals other than putting block. If you put a block on it or a weight on it, you might not hear the hissing sound, but there is still a leakage. But as long as the gas is 1.5 times heavier than air. The tendency that it will go in a big fire, or it leaks in your room, you come back in the evening, you are even opening your door. The key friction is enough to set it ablaze. Or you trying to, turn on your light, it is also there. And you see people, they have the cylinders close by because they are cooking in a large scale because of the activities and all that. I keep saying that gas is a dangerous, a thing that we should be careful the way we use it. And within this period, I want to say this because I know you don't have time. Our churches, it is this period that those of us who do not attend churches on Sundays, everybody is moving to the churches. Then you see them having additional chairs, being pushed into the church. Yeah, it is very dangerous. There might be the slightest thing that people should get evacuated, but because they have...
What do you have enough exits that people can easily exit?
Yes, you have enough exit, but the traveling distances where people should pass, the passages is where they place those chairs. So people will definitely find it difficult jumping over that. That is why it will be very dangerous. But I will only pray that people, wherever you find yourself, it could be churches, it could be anywhere. This night, we are even moving as a service to all the nightclubs, the pubs, and all that to see what actually there are activities that they do in.
You have some things on your table.
Yes, this is an extinguisher. I've been saying
this
that
is a beautiful fire extinguisher. I haven't seen one like this before.
Every home is supposed to have a fire extinguisher. Every big fire, except an explosion, starts with something small. So if you have an extinguisher and there is fire in your home, and you know how to use it, it has an easy way of being used. So you will definitely be able to reduce the impact of the fire.
So what should we do? Buy a fire extinguisher and make sure you are taught how to use it.
Exactly.
And then
you have a smoke detector as well. Smoke detectors mean if you are sleeping and there is fire in your room, they will make noise for you to know. Because there are several fires that people die in it. Not even the fire has gotten to where they were sleeping. They die in other rooms, but because of inhalation of the carbon monoxide, people die. But if you have a smoke detector, it will make noise and you even get up and know that there is fire in your room. These two things is something that people find it difficult to have. But I want also to say that even if you have a fire in your community, though the current chief officer is committed and he's saying that every district will have well-equipped fire station. So that is what he's ensuring, that every district should have a well-equipped fire station. But even that, you might have the fire station in your district, but it will take them some time before
they get there. So these are the first 8 things that you need around.
You need to have there.
One detection, and then the first one, firefighter, to make sure that you can.
Exactly.
There's this best before dates and many misconceptions. Sometimes people say, oh, when the best before date elapses, you have some grace period. So give us education. What is best before dates? Assuming there's best before 24th December 2017, what does that mean to a consumer?
Thank you. Before any manufacturer gets to the best before date, he would have done some tests. He or she would have done some tests before arriving at that date or that shelf life. After that best before date, the manufacturer is telling you that I cannot vouch for the safety and quality of the products. So a
single day after a best before date,
the manufacturer says, I cannot vouch for the safety and quality of the product.
If anything happens, the consumer is responsible.
Exactly. And as a human being, somebody you think that you know, and you know you're a human being, you're not a guinea pig. Why would you want to consume something that the manufacturer cannot vouch for its safety and quality?
So we should take it very serious.
Very, very seriously. He or she says, best before date, and that is it. Best before date.
Can we just rely on the best before dates in buying items? For instance, if I'm buying a product and they say best before 25th December, and I know I'm going to consume it today, is that enough? Because sometimes you see or you get the impression that some products may go bad before they are best before dates. What should we look out for?
Well, some may go bad.
Can we rely on the best before date only?
To a very large extent, you can rely on the best before dates because shelf life studies are done before the best before dates are given. I mean, very vigorous shelf life studies. Sometimes, even if they know that the product, well, products are normally kept at ambient temperature and all that, but in shelf life studies, you even subject them to something like 55 degrees Celsius. That's very high, you know, and you put them in ovens and all that just to, let me say, maltreat them. I mean, that's really...
To see whether they can stand.
Giving them adverse conditions and all that to see whether they can stand for a certain period of time before you give the best before date. So you can rely on them to a very large extent. However, there are some products that are kept under very horrible conditions sometimes. So if that happens, then you may not be able to rely on the best, not because it is the manufacturer's fault, but because of the storage. Some products do have the storage conditions. You know, when I was even telling you about the 8 things, I didn't tell you about storage conditions because the clauses, if any. There are some products that don't have specific storage conditions. Some will tell you keep in a cool, dry place. Some will say refrigerate product. Others will say once open, refrigerate for for not more than 3 days or something, or once open, consume within 24 hours. So there are some products that come with their storage conditions and even the instructions for use and all that, and even the preparation. So you need to follow some of the follow all the instructions that come with the products.
That's very important. When you go to the markets these days, you see where they sell the fowls. Yeah. They slaughter easily, and sometimes you see, let me borrow his word, women queuing. Queuing to take their turn because you pick it, it's slaughtered, it's dressed, and then they cut it into sizes, you bag it and you go home and it's ready to go into the pot. Should we continue to do this? Yeah,
the problem is that like the poultry industry, unlike the cows, goats, and they don't have a lot of slaughter facilities. We used to call Akoko Dako, what's his name? Kobuna.
Daku Farms.
Yeah. They used to do it. But the time they were doing, the poultry industry was not able to support them. So I think now it's almost off.
So is it we don't have a lot of time? Is it good to do that?
Yeah, it's okay because people now don't have much time.
But you still have to do the safety checks.
Yes, you have to do that. And most people prefer the locally produced chicken now. They don't want the imported one because there are a lot of stories about them. So they want to go and buy fresh, but they cannot kill it themselves. They cannot go home and do it. That's why they have started doing that. So what should we look out for when we get to the markets? Yeah, because then they are slaughtering it there. So yes, you still, as a consumer, need to know what to do. Yeah, please do it for me in 30 seconds. That is why when you go, as I mentioned, the various signs that you have to look for, the alertness, make sure there are no accident, make sure the vent is not wet, make sure there are no, the comb is alert, it's standing, it's not greenish in nature, make sure the chunks are not reddish in nature, that's the legs. So you look for all those things before you can just buy it, and then they will slaughter for you. There's no problem with the water because you see one boiling water, and then they dip in, they bring it out, they dip the second one, they bring it out. There's no problem because normally you have to put in the hot one before you cool it to be able to remove the feathers fast. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Even some microorganisms do lice themselves due to that kind of change, immediate change in the temperature. Yeah, microorganisms, they die. Please, for your round it up for us, what should we focus on? You've talked about the fire extinguisher and the alarm. 30 seconds. Yeah, what I want to say is that this is the period we need to monitor our children. They use other sources of fires, the firecrackers. We should stop them from using it. We still see them on the streets. Yeah, exactly. Well, it is not all that have been banned anyway. So, but some of those that we see on the street, they don't look good. Exactly. I don't know whether they are banned or not, but there's very long pipes and the way they use it, and the way they use it is a problem. They use it wrongly in certain areas that they shouldn't use it. So we need to monitor our children. We should stop them, but if in case they should use it, then we need to monitor where they use it, how they use it, and where they use it. Fires within this period has always been on the increase, but we are doing everything possible to prevent it. Even from this morning, 10 o'clock to 2 p.m., we had 7 fires in the Greater Accra, alone. So just imagine, we have an average of 15 fires in the Greater Accra region. But the way things are going, if you are not careful, we have more than the average. 15 in a month? Or no, 15? A day. In a day? Yeah, a day. 15. And today we've had 7 already. From 10 to 2 p.m. We had 7. 7 already, 10 to 2 But 15 in a day is a lot. It is. All these fires are all preventable. We are doing everything, but it behoves on each and every individual
We are not in your room. We are not in your bedroom. We are not in your kitchen. But it is the education that we are giving you that if you are ensuring and they're getting committed to the fire safety measure, you will prevent
the fires.
Yeah.
You have very few seconds, so round it up for me quickly.
Away from
Stay away.
Cans, rusty cans, bloated cans.
Okay.
And ensure that whatever you buy, you at least, if for nothing at all,
you
look
check
out for the best before dates.
Thank you very much, Prince Billy Anaglate. Thank you very much, Madam Maria Avlis Johnson. Thank you very much, Dr. Bashiru Boy Kikimoto. Thank you, my viewers, for staying with us and for being part of this show every Saturday. You've heard from the guests. This is your health. This is your safety. And so we have to be responsible for the things that we do. This is Christmas. We need to be safe for the new year. My name is Deborah Kwabla. God willing, same time next week we'll be here. Thanks to the production team. Enjoy your Christmas, and we'll see you next week.